You're listening to the Beans and Dice podcast, a podcast about how we game.
Before we open up the phone lines, we wanted to go through and give it the beans.
Give it the beans.
Give it the beans. Now, Wayne and I are probably more the experts on this title that we're about to bring up here.
I got a crash course.
Robert got a crash course, and I'm looking to hear from you.
Literally 10 minutes before I got here, about 15 minutes before the show, and Carlos was like, "Let me get you quick learner on this." I was like, "This is quick and easy enough. Let's just do it." So we just plowed through it. 10 minutes. Yep.
10 minutes.
In the Footsteps of Darwin.
Yes, In the Footsteps of Darwin, a title published by Sorry We Are French.
Of course.
The designer is G. Grard.
Oh, don't try it. You're going to hurt
and
yourself.
M. Verdier. Is that French, Rob?
I don't know. Let me see.
Yeah, French guy. Let Rob do it.
G. Gerard and M. Verdier.
Right off the bat, folks, look at the inside of this box.
It's all gorgeous.
I'm
Little
trying to
glare.
find it. There's a little glare here, but it's all
See
like
the animals.
pencil etching of animals on the inside of the box.
Pretty
This
cool.
is the cover. It's kind of like a nautical theme. I think of, and I don't know about you, Wayne, what I really enjoy about this game is that one of my favorite movies is Master and Commander.
Oh yeah, love that movie.
Right, and it's a great Age of Sail naval battling movie. But there's there's also the friend who he's like a doctor. His goal in life is
naturalist,
and he's a natural. Yeah, he's going around sketching stuff, and that's kind of the feeling I get when I'm playing this game. And this what really drew me into this theme. In the basics, we'll go for the give it the beans. BEANS. B is for basics. The basics is there was a lot of mechanisms in this one. Tile placement, tile selection,
Kind of set collection.
end game scoring.
Yeah.
Rondelle-ish when it comes to the Beagle, the boat that Darwin's on, moving around on the board. You're going to be taking your turns to select a tile off the board. When you select the tile off the board, it's going to represent an animal. It's going to be one of 4 different types of animal, either bird, mammal, arthropod, or reptile.
Or human, kind of. I mean,
Well, those are inspired characters.
different things?
Inspired
Okay, I gotcha.
characters.
Okay.
Yeah,
And then there's regions that they're going to represent. It's either going to be the Americas, Africa, I think it's kind of like in Asia, Europe, Asia, and then Oceania, which is like Australia, New Zealand-ish. So it's going to represent one of those 4 regions. So you're picking a tile and you're placing it where it belongs. It's a bird from Asia. It goes on that one space.
Dedicated spots, yeah.
Dedicated spot for that animal. The goal is going to be to pick animals that give you points in different ways. You can get points just by having points on the tile itself. Any tiles that are that are visible at the end of the game with laurels on them are going to give you points. You're also going to get points for the chart symbols, but the chart symbols are only going to give you points based on the number of compasses that you've gotten at the end of the game. So you also want to pick tiles that give you compasses that you add to your compass row because you're going to multiply that across your charts. And then also the tiles are going to give you guides. Guides are used to be the luck mitigating factor. It allows you to move the Beagle 1 space forward or 1 space back, or it allows you to reset the offering that you have at that moment with 3 new tiles and replace the old ones with those 3, and then you get to pick from there. And then the characters, because there's going to be 3 spots for characters that inspire you, you may be able to select some characters from the board. They give you points, they give you guides, they score in different ways. There's also a Darwin figure, like a bust. I know.
What is that again?
What is that again? Give me an idea of how to say that better.
Figure. Yeah. Love the ideas.
A miniature of Darwin. And the first player starts with Darwin. Whoever ends the game with Darwin gets 2 bonus points at the end of the game. However, there's a crown symbol on the different animals, and these are emblematic animals, as they call them. These tend to be your toucans, your
moose.
Like American moose, the Nile crocodile. These are like cool animals, have the emblematic symbol, and that means Darwin goes to that player. A fig what? Says Sodak. A figure.
Fig Newton.
Yeah, those are yummy. If you place
Darwin,
if you place Darwin, the crown symbol, you get Darwin. If you hold on to Darwin until the end of the game, it's 2 points into the game. The other way to get points is by filling your board. Your board is a 4x4 grid. If you ever fill a column or a row, you get to do what's called publication. Publish a publication, which gives you 5 points at the end of the game. So that's what? How many opportunities for that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 opportunities?
I didn't even ask if you. You can only do each one once, though. If you add
Correct.
another
6.
set of tiles,
3 rows, 3 columns. So
Four
No,
by
no,
four.
4.
4 by 4.
4x4.
Oh, it's
looking
4
at
4.
it.
You're right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
4 by 4.
yeah,
Yep. So
eight. Right.
8 times you can get these 5-point bonuses.
Yep.
And at the start of the game, everybody starts with what's called a theory. A theory is an end game scoring mechanism, and you can have by the end of the game up to 6 theories, and you can get more theories every time you cover a tile with an animal with another animal. So you cover up the old one. You also get to pick a new theory from the theory display from the theory market. Those are going to be things that give you bonus points for every American animal you have, bonus points for every visible guide symbol on your board, bonus points for every theory you have. So all these different ways, bonus points for how you fill your board. So like for each one of these spaces that are filled, you get bonus points for that.
Like a
So it's
bottom
lot of
quadrant,
in-game
top
scoring there.
quadrant. Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
And there's like 40 of those. Or
Yeah.
something like
Oh, yeah.
that. There's like 30 or there's a ton. Yeah.
That's something I'm just noticing. Even the tiles you play with, we're only playing with half of the tiles. I mean, so there's-
2/5
In a 2-player
Okay,
game,
yeah.
you basically it's like was it 12 per player plus 9 initial,
Plus the 9
something like that.
starting.
Yeah, plus
Okay.
the 9 starting. And what I
What
the
else am I
basics
missing on
there-
basics?
No, I think that's it. The only thing I would say is like you what I really kind of really like about this game is there's more than just enjoyment and summary is you mentioned all these different things. There's rondelle, there's set collection, there's all these kind of different mechanisms, but they're kind of like, and this is not a negative thing, they're kind of like the Diet Coke of those mechanisms because they're all very simple. They're like the simplest version of that mechanism, and they're all strung together. And that's what makes the game so sort of smooth in its playability is that in the basic of it, it's just really simple. It's the rondelle is just moving the ship around based on how far away the tile was you picked from the ship. I pick a tile 3 ways, I move the ship 3. And you have this grid that you fill, and you have these endgame stories. It's all very straightforward.
Yeah, and that gets us to the enjoyment, right? I'll start off, Wayne. You brought it up, and I'll continue it. The mechanism. There's a lot of different little mechanisms in here, and you said they're like the Diet Coke or the basic of the mechanism. Man, this is a great way to bring people into the hobby because it's gonna get them. I can see the spokes going out from this game to so many other games, right? So when you score your charts, you're gonna base that score based on how many compasses you've gotten. So by selecting this tile, you get another compass. So then it makes all those charts more valuable. So you start seeing that engine growing like, oh, I have a chart engine going because I want to get compasses and then cover them up with charts because then my compasses times. So you see the spokes that are going to come from this on the different things that folks will be able to learn. And kind of, I love to teach by pointing to past games.
Yeah.
If this is one of the first games I teach someone, I'm going to be able to go into other games and point back to say, okay, remember how in this game it did this? I really enjoyed what you said there, Wayne, with regards to the distilled, just bare bones, bread and butter mechanisms. Go ahead. What'd you enjoy, Wayne?
The simplicity of gameplay, I think I've talked a lot about the game schooling and homeschooling and sort of not homeschooling, but game schooling is making games fun, but bringing education to it. This game's got that in droves because the whole first part of the rule book talks about the voyage of the Beagle and Darwin's journey and all this stuff. And then they give you a supplemental book with like a good paragraph or more about each of the animals that are portrayed in the book. So yeah, you can play the game for fun. You can play the game for just real quick and get it done, but you can then work in that educational aspect. And I have a 9-year-old, this is right up his alley. We're going to love to play that. He's going to look at the animal and kind of read about the animal and those kind of things. So I think it bridges the gap between games for fun and games with educational value as well. So I love games that do that. So I love the trekking games and trekking through history in the world and her story and those kind of things. So I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that it's really quick. This is literally, you guys played it in 10, 15 minutes. You can play it 20, 30 minutes, probably 4 player for 35. It's really fast. So this is a game that a family can play right after dinner, before bedtime, and, crank it out.
Rob, any enjoyments in your first play?
That'd be my thing. Again, we knocked it out literally. I mean, you taught it and we played it in 15 minutes. We were rushing a little bit. I wasn't thinking too much about it.
We haven't scored yet, so we'll find out how it
we're
went.
Score live here in just a minute. But so I was rushing through. I wasn't making deep decisions, but. Again, the time is awesome. You could pull this out, teach it to somebody at game day while you're waiting for people to arrive, while you're waiting for somebody to finish up a game. You could stretch it and probably play it. I mean, I just was looking at the box. It advertises 30 minutes. I mean, you could probably stretch it to 30 minutes, but Jim says 10 to 15 minutes. I don't understand. Yeah, it's 10 to 15 hours, James. That's
that's where
you're.
I mean, I can see this if like this is also kind of game that if you're hanging out with a few other couples. You can break out this game, kind of be sitting around talking, drink a glass of wine casually while playing this game. So maybe it could take 30, 40 minutes to play the game while doing other things. Because there is some thinking, but you really don't need to think in between turns as much as just waiting, thinking during your turn as much.
And I'm a thinky gamer and I'm a slow gamer. I know it. I've done things over the years to try to combat that. But this one, I mean, like I say, I probably could have thought a little bit into it and drew it out another 5 minutes. But we literally, I mean, after the teach, I think we probably played it in about 12 minutes, 10 minutes. And
you got here, it was 15. It was 15 till. You got here, it was 15 till.
Yeah.
And we were done by 9 o'clock on the dot.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's when we said hi to Wayne.
That was with saying hi to each other, chatting a little bit, and then you were like, hey, let's try to get you a few rounds of this game in.
I was just going to demo a few rounds.
Yeah, and we played a whole game. So, yeah.
And I think another enjoyment aspect of it, too, is because, a lot of times when you get those 15 to 30-minute games, it's in a little tin or it's just a little couple of cards. This is like a full-on board game and we'll get to the aesthetics next, but with great production value that I like. It's super quick to set up, but it's not just a deck of cards. And so it's a 15 to 30-minute game you can play that fits that kind of desire to have table presence.
We'll go right into aesthetics because, I mean, I was having trouble not getting into aesthetics when we talked about enjoyment because that's such a big part. But go ahead and kick us off, Wayne.
Well, first of all, like Carlos, when you picked up the box from Amazon when it came,
moly.
I was like, how heavy is this game? Like, how is this tiny little game weigh more than like other game boxes? So one, the production value is insane. The cardboard tokens are double, triple thick. The artwork is gorgeous. The board layout, everything about it screams well thought out, well produced. The iconography is super easy to understand. It's beautiful. The artwork is amazing.
Yeah,
that's the first piece. Is the actual naturalistic watercolor pencil with watercolor on it.
It's definitely got a pencil, maybe
pencil
even charcoal,
sketching with like a watercolor finish to the coloring. It's just gorgeous. It's like it's what I grew up looking at as a kid. I was that kid. I remember we would go to like the thrift store to buy clothes and stuff. You'd find me as a small kid in the books.
Oh yeah,
right. Because you remember in the well, if anybody's been to like the thrift stores growing up as a kid, there was always a section of old books that people would drop off, and they tended to be like old college books and stuff that people would just donate away. I'd be that kid buying them to flip through the pages at home.
Look at the pictures.
Right. Like I used to love just looking at the pictures of the animals and stuff. And this is what it reminds me of. It's like an old, natural sciences book.
Yeah.
And man, they did not skimp because every tile is different.
Yeah.
And the 5-point tiles. So we got these 5-point tiles that you get whenever you do a publication. They're worth 5 points. Every single one of these has a different illustration for no reason.
Yeah, even though it doesn't matter, right? Yeah,
there's no reason.
They're all the same, yeah.
And so many companies would just do the same.
Yeah, and the little portraits of like your fellow travelers that help you reset. I forget
the guides.
The guides.
Every guide is different.
Every guide's different. So, and it's all very representative too. So,
yeah, that was that stood out. Like these are not necessary, just not necessary to do it, but they did it.
And even the beagle, just this the one. I think this is the only wooden piece in the game. Nice, big, thick, chunky wooden. Oh, I don't see. Show it there. The ship. I think is that screen printed. I mean, it's not. I don't even think it's stickered. Is it?
No, I think it's screen printed
screen
onto
printed
the wood. Double-sided screen printed ship.
And these boards. I mean, show these boards. I mean, this is actually, this was one of the prettiest
They fold
things.
up from a little book. Yeah, they're gorgeous.
Because everybody gets their notebook to fill in their sketches. Yeah, slide it this way. And you can see it's quality cardstock, folds really easily. Like they did a great job with the folding. And it looks like a leather-bound notebook. And everyone gets a different one with a different animal on the front. I mean, component quality, production value on this game is insane. You get a screen-printed cloth bag for no reason. There's no bag pulling in here. This is literally
it's
just
just
the
a
whole.
store.
the
It's like the
token
little
storage.
chips and stuff. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Like instead of giving us plastic bags to put the stuff
Don't use
in,
it during the game, but
this is your storage bag.
I was blown away. I said it once how heavy the damn game is in the box. Like for a tiny game that's 15 to 30 minutes, I'm like, this is hefty. I mean,
you guys both picked
that
it up.
weight.
What was the price tag on this?
$39.99.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
The box comes with a cardboard insert. Let me see if I can't get that camera back. You can see the cardboard insert here has a slot for your tiles, so it kind of holds all the tiles, a place for the theories, the end game scoring, and then all the boards go here, and a little baggie on top, and boom. So it's got an insert, built-in insert.
Nice.
And again, beautiful art all the way around.
It reminds me, I would say on the level of like Wingspan, but I don't know. This may even be a tiny step up from Wingspan. Some of the little things in there. It's really well done. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes me
Art-wise
it makes me
and
kind of want to
components
look
and,
into more. It makes me want to look into more games from the Sorry We're Not French, because
Yeah.
if that's their MO of production value, then I would think that it's probably pretty like all their games are probably like that.
And a
Yeah.
scoring pad. Mosaic didn't even come with a scoring pad. Whoops. There is a scoring pad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Production quality, so aesthetics.
It's
negatives?
like through the roof. Yep.
There's no negatives. I found no negatives.
No.
Other
I
than
got
my,
I got
Wayne's
one.
Oh.
Wayne's got one.
my
I got
box
one.
was
I got a
damaged when I got it.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
And I
okay.
think it has to do with the weight of the box. The insert got a little ruffled up, so I had to
Oh,
kind of
okay.
straighten
No,
it
I didn't
back
have that
out.
problem. The only negative I have, is so when you set up your playboard, it's the 9 initial tiles and then 12 per player. And I had one game where I was desperately trying to find a North American insect, and it wasn't in the game
At all.
at all.
Right, because you're only
Because-
you're only setting up 12 tiles per player plus the 9.
Plus the 9.
So that, Rob,
And
like
so
you
there's-
see, there's a
Yeah,
whole
there's
stack
a whole
over
bunch
there.
over there.
It could,
Right.
That could be all North America.
Okay.
Right,
That could be,
it
or
could
all
be.
American.
Yep.
Shuffle better.
Yeah, shuffle better. So I did
Random
have
better.
a game. I played it 3-4 times, 2-player, and I think this is definitely more of an issue 2-player, because as you add more players, all those 4-player game, all those tiles are in there, right?
Sure.
Because
Yeah.
it's 12 per player. So I think the negative I have in a 2-player game, it is possible that one of the tiles you're looking for may not be in the game, and so there has to be a point of at what point do you keep hunting for that, or do you pivot to not looking for it? And so I actually immediately, like, not a house rule, but I said, like, you can use those. Oh my God, the guides, right? The guides
Yeah.
can help you wipe a row out. And so I always said, well, I would just house rule and say in a 2-player game, you could use that guide to look through the tiles that are not in the game. And if the tile you need is not in the game, then you can shuffle it into the tiles that are being used and swap them out.
Breaking games here.
Breaking
Go ahead.
games, yeah, I know. But that I mean, could be it's very nitpicky,
Sorry,
right? That is
Anakin.
like
You're going down a path I cannot follow.
no. Well, as I'm saying, I think it's only an issue in 2-player game where there are a decent amount of tiles that aren't there. So the negative could be in a 2-player game. It is possible that a tile you're looking for to complete a row or column isn't in the game. That's the only negative I can come across, and that's not a big negative.
I disagree with Wayne on that one for this reason. 2 players, it's 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, you don't get your
Yeah,
one
yeah,
tile.
right.
You don't get to
Right.
score that one column or fill
It's
that
5 points.
row. Right? That happened to me in freaking Arc Nova.
Well, you've been playing
Okay?
for 2 hours.
Okay, no, 3+ hours
4
of
hours?
Arc
Yeah.
Nova, and I'm like, I need an American crocodile. Like, oh my God, I need. And Rob's like, oh, I discarded that like eight
or
hours
the
ago.
or the corn
Like-
you needed to make bourbon and distill.
And
yeah,
distill.
exactly. There you go. Distilled.
Right.
Yep.
that feeling
I
that
get
Wayne
it.
is
Yeah.
describing means nothing in a 20-minute game.
Yeah. 15, 20 minute
I
games.
don't necessarily disagree with you. I just felt like as a negative, like as a reviewer,
You had to
we're
find
trying
a
to give our
negative.
like you have to find at least a little something to say like that could bother people. It didn't necessarily bother me, and I wouldn't necessarily do that house rule. I just said that might be a rule that I might use to fix it if that became an issue with multiple plays of a 2-player game. But it's just I think that I might add to my teach if I'm playing a 2-player game with someone in the future. I'm like, hey, realize that it may not be in the game. So think about if after a couple of turns you haven't seen the tile you need, pivot to something else that, because it's such a fast game anyway, right? But that's really the only negative I could think of, like is, a tile might not be there in a 2-player game or maybe 3-player, but it's definitely there in a 4-player because all the tiles are in. So
Well, thank you, because I could not think of many negatives other than like what Rob would say.
So my negative.
Yeah,
so we can all say it
too
together.
light.
1,
Too
2,
light.
3.
Too light.
Kind of like
Yeah, I mean it's light. I enjoy light games. Come on,
We do.
you do.
I
You
still do like James. I mean this one's pretty enjoyable. This one I could almost. I mean we're gonna find out in a minute when we score this thing, and I don't know if you were trying to let me do stuff. I know you
No.
you do that sometimes, but
No, I was taking stuff that you were
okay.
needing.
You okay? All right.
I took birds.
You were
Look at how many birds I
hate
have.
drafting. Yeah, I've only
I
got
was
2
hate
And I
drafting.
birds.
think
You got
there
4
is a
birds, but-
little bit of, I think with replay plays, there's a little bit of depth here where you could really start gaming it. a
Order of
little bit more.
operation matters. And I know we're in the negatives, like kind of touching back to enjoyment. I see a level of depth. I'm not talking, like Olympic sized pool depth.
Sure.
But maybe like the fun pool, the kiddie pool
Kiddie
depth,
pool, yeah.
right? Because this isn't super shallow. Your order of operations is going to matter. Yeah, you want that Japanese crane. I love that Japanese crane. It's got 3 points on it. But if I take that first, and instead later take the Eastern Imperial Eagle, which goes on top of the Japanese crane, that's 3 points I'm not going to get at the end of the game. So I want to make sure I'm taking animals in the right order. I want to get all my tokens and my guides and my compasses.
Yeah, you want to get compasses
early.
and tokens and then cover them up with points.
Cover them up with points, right? And then if I'm doing really good on the compass side, then I start doing the benefit cost analysis to decide if I take the animal with the chart and place it over an animal with points, will I net more points because I have more compi?
I guess we'll find out in a minute when we do the scoring, but I completely turned my brain off. I was just trying to cover my board, just trying to spread out, put as many things in as many places as I could. And I'm looking at ours. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 spots filled. I've got about 10 or 11.
But you've got
so-
2 publications,
Right. So
and
we'll
you
see.
have 3 theories,
We'll
which are
see.
endgame scoring.
You'll
You've got 3 compasses to my 1. So you see, everybody goes like a different way.
Yeah.
I know we're not talking enjoyment anymore, but that's part of what I enjoyed is that the game does have a level of depth, and it's perfect for light gaming, introductory gaming, filler gaming. Like if normally my filler would be what? It would be Point City, or
Point
Point Salad,
Yeah.
Salad.
or Biblios.
Biblios,
Right?
yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
This
It's in
at
between,
5
probably.
players. This at 5 players is going to go with me and get played more because we can do this with 5 players. We paid 4 players today. I haven't done the full 5.
It's obviously not as mobile as those other 2 games. Those other 2 games, much smaller footprint, much smaller,
Right.
just a deck of cards or whatever.
This is a
but-
game day filler versus like I'm taking this to Epcot.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct.
Exactly.
It's not going to be in my pocket.
But
I'll
and
find
I
a
think
way.
I
I'll find a way.
I would like I know we say it's light, and I admit it's a very very light game. It's not a negative. It's only a negative if you're don't like ever playing a game that's light. I guess it's a
Jim.
negative. But Jim, no, not Jim. Even Jim
But
plays
at
light
4
games.
players, Wayne, we got it done in
Yeah.
30 minutes.
Yeah.
That's great.
30 minutes
Love that.
flat
Fantastic.
with talking, with eating chicken wings and cubanitos. So we had a good time today. I was hoping to get 5 in, but Rob came late.
I was late.
I wanted to see how it would be at 5. I would imagine if at 2 players
minutes
we
more,
get it done
probably.
in 10 to 15. At 4 players we got it done at 30. I would imagine 5 players would be at about the 35, 40 minutes tops.
Yeah, at most.
Last
like
one,
that.
Yeah,
summary.
we're up to 9:30, so yeah, summary. Let's wrap them up.
Yeah. Sorry, I'll go quick. So it's try, buy, deny. I'm gonna say mixed. So for me, it's a total buy. Right. If you have a family, if you have young gamers, if you like family games, or if you like to have a really good filler in between heavy games, this is an absolute buy. Period. End of story. If you are a person that doesn't necessarily play, doesn't have children, doesn't have educational need, or doesn't have family gaming time, if you're just a heavy gamer and that's all you ever do is heavy gaming, try this because it may be just too light for you. But I think almost any gamer could put it on their shelf as a filler. Everyone needs you can't just, well, you can, but you can't just constantly play 3 or 4 hour games back to back to back to back. Every now and then you want a little filler.
Not
If
with
you
an
just
attitude
don't-
like that, you can't.
Not exactly
If you
right.
just-
You need to fill it to fill time to like be able to jiggle tables and have different players around. So this is a great game to just kind of like cleansing the palate.
I even take it farther than that. I agree with everything you said, except for the try piece. I would still turn that into a buy, and I would turn that into a buy because we should be growing this hobby. Even if you are a heavy Euro gamer, right, and that's your lifestyle, that's what you choose to do, you should be selling this hobby to people that you know, friends and family. This is, to me, emblematic of what modern day gaming should be or is or can be. and it would be so easy to show it to others. Like, hey, I love heavy 3-hour games. Oh, you mean like Monopoly? No, let me show you this game. Let's play. And you can get going in less than 5 minutes on the rules, teach, and they'll start to see the depth. I mean, I to me, this is a solid buy. If I had, and again, this is what's hard, right? Because when we do if you do like a BGG rating, 1 to 5, it would be in
As
that
far as weight,
4.5. No,
no, 1 to 10 on weight.
1 to 10.
1 to 10.
It'd be in that 9 to 10 for me range.
Okay.
For this weight of game.
Okay.
For
Yeah.
this time of game.
Okay.
Yeah.
It would be in a 9 to 10.
Solid 8, 9. Yeah, it's in that 9.
You got 30 minutes. You got 4
it's
people.
A 9.
Right?
Yeah.
30 minutes, 4 people. This is the title that I'm going to pull out.
Okay. So I got a 10-minute crash course here, or a 5-minute crash course, 10-minute play. I am going to put it on the buy as well. So after one play, and you know my opinion on light games, but I see completely what Wayne is saying. For heavier gamers, this is not something that a heavier gamer is going to pull out all the time. It's not something they're going to enjoy playing all the time. But going kind of harkening back to something Carlos was talking about earlier.
Yeah,
I love games that are building blocks for things you see in those more complex games. And this is a game. The price, when you mentioned it, $39.99. I know that's not a huge amount, especially in today's market, and especially with these components and the way that this game is done.
Yeah.
For this light of a game, there are so many other games that you can pick up for $19.99, $25, $30. So I mean, this gets on the high end there. So that is for me, that would be the one thing that kind of puts it on that borderline of the try or buy. But I would say the great thing about this is we talked about there are 4 or 5 little mechanisms in this that are all done at entry-ish level. And if you get somebody to play this and then they like one of the particular mechanisms, the rondelle, the set collection, whatever, then you can say, okay, I've got more games for you like that. So now that you kind of understand how that works, I can step you up into something a little bit, Ticket to Ride, or one of those games that's just one more step up. And so this one, a lot of those little pocket $14.99, $21.99 games that you might pick up at Target are usually just one mechanic. Sushi Go is going to teach you drafting. That's my go-to game to teach people card drafting. That kind of stuff. Those games are cheaper, but they're pretty much one mechanism. This is going to give you 3 or 4 of those mechanisms at an entry level. So the value could be there that this would teach you a wider range of stuff. So
I like you guys.
You heard it
points.
from
You
us.
sold me. It's a buy.
Sold you? Is it going to a buy?
Yeah.
I think
it's
we
going
all
to a
went
buy. Across the board,
buy.
Bye.
Yeah.
We're like in sync here,
I was
right?
I was a
Or is
buy,
that,
but I was like, I could be like, I was
that
totally a
Backstreet
buy.
or NSYNC?
I think it's Backstreet Boys.
Yeah,
Is
it's
Backstreet?
Yeah.
Bye.
Either one. Yeah.
We need to get that on the soundboard for when the three of us.
Bye.
Bye.
That's funny. Yeah.
All right, that's our review on it. Diego's got a great question because I struggled with this
tough.
before we even started this show.
While you pull it up,
I
hit the
struggled
phones.
with this.
Hit the phones. We're right on the phones.
well,
Or are you gonna wait?
Yeah, no,
All
we'll
right,
score.
all
We'll score.
Okay.
Before we wrap up this, what game can you compare Darwin to? The reason, man, I'm telling you what, I cannot think of a game that Darwin would replace for me. That it would be something, because when I think about comparing games, I ask myself, do I need this game because I already have this game, right?
Yeah, it's tough because it
I
has
cannot
like 3 or
find
4
one for
different.
this.
It has like 3 or 4 different mechanisms in it. So you would say like, okay, well, it's got the tableau building like at King
Of a
Domino,
Cascadia,
right?
like I'm laying
right?
tile.
But
tile
no, but then
selection
you
of
have the
Cascadia.
rondelle, and you have the end game scoring, and you have the sort of the. It's tough. That's a tough one. It's kind of a unique. It's a little bit of a unique game, which I think why that maybe speak to why we're all 3 of us going, wow, this is kind of cool, because it has all the mechanisms you've seen in a million other games, but it has like just slices of a bunch of them.
Yeah, I can't think of any popular ones. There was a game, I don't even know where, I got it for free somewhere. It might have been at one of the Dice Tower events or Simon. It's called Bottle Cap Vikings. It's a little pocket
I think
game.
I still have mine.
Okay, I played it a couple times, and it's got a little bit of the feel of this. It's got a couple of different little entry-level mechanisms like this one. There's a little rondelle thing. There's some set collection, a little bit of engine building. So it gives me a little bit, but nobody's played Bottle Cap Vikings, so it's not going to
I just put mine away in my
did
small
you?
games.
Yeah.
So that's our review, our Give It the Beans of In the Footsteps of Darwin, published by Sorry, We Are French.
Thanks for watching the Beans and Dice podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe.